Hey, what is up, mortals? It is I, Keishan VA, here with a new video for you. Welcome to Season 2, Part 5 of What If Deku Was Taskmaster? I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So, we begin. After a short break, the Class A students returned to UA, and their teacher had an announcement for them.
Today's lesson will be in hero informatics, and you'll be coming up with your hero aliases.
The class erupted into ear-splitting cheers before the teacher silenced them.
I wasn't done. We also have to talk about draft picks. In light of your sports festival performances, pros have decided who they want to work with.
The students waited nervously as the teacher prepared to reveal the results.
I was rather surprised by the results. It's usually more evenly split, but our top 3 really stole the limelight this year,
he said as a graphic displayed the number of offers each student got. Bakugo had the most with 4,143. Shoto came second with 3,446. Izuku came third with 3,321, and so on. The results had Midoriya's jaw on the floor in utter disbelief as his teacher continued.
Anyways, now that that's done, Midnight, they're all yours.
The R-rated hero strutted into the classroom with her usual elegance as she said, "All right, kids, who's ready to choose a hero name?" The class responded with an enthusiastic cheer. Good, good. I'm glad you're excited, but be sure to keep a level head during the process. These names are technically preliminary, but could stick with you for many years. Isn't that right, Eraserhead?
Shut it.
Now, with that word of caution out of the way, you'll have 15 minutes to think of something. Don't worry if it's not perfect. I'm here to help refine your ideas. Just be sure to pick a name that perfectly represents you as a hero. Consider, for example, our top 3 heroes, All Might, Endeavor, and Best Jeanist. Each possesses a name representing their brand or what they stand for as heroes. Now then, let's begin. Once that planning time elapsed, a few students prepared to present their names. Izuku decided to wait a bit since he was still unsure about his. He had it in the back of his mind since childhood, but wasn't confident about it. Luckily, his frog-like classmate unknowingly gave him some confidence as he finally stood up and presented the name to the class. "I'm the hero who can learn any skill with a mere glance, Taskmaster!" The teacher thought for a moment until she finally shared her thoughts. Not bad. It's simple and catchy. I like it, she said while giving a thumbs up to her student. He took a sigh of relief and took his seat. After all the students had presented ideas for hero names, Eraserhead handed out forms to the students so they could choose who to intern with. Izuku and Ochako started talking about this, and she eventually revealed that she would intern with Gunhead. Wait, really?
Yeah, my fight with Bakugo made me want to get stronger, and I think training with a battle-focused hero like Gunhead could help me. So, who are you interning with?
I'm interning with him too. Despite all my offers, I don't think any of the pros that want me are a better fit than my dad. Ochako took a brief pause before slowly uttering the words, "I'm sorry. You're what?" "My dad. Did you not hear that part?"
No, I did.
"But what do you mean? Gunhead's your dad?" Yeah. Wait, have I seriously never mentioned that?"
No, I think I would have remembered you saying that.
Huh, weird. Anyway, wanna go grab lunch?
So you're just not gonna tell me why you hid that all this time?
I didn't hide it. It just never came up, he said while getting up from his seat and calling out to his bird-headed friend. "Ochako and I are heading out for lunch. You coming too?"
Yeah, let's go. Oh, and by the way, who are you guys interning with? I'm guessing you're going with your dad, right?
Oh, come on! You even told Tokiyami? Like I said, I wasn't hiding anything. It just never came up.
Oh, did something happen?
Tokiyami said, feeling like he was lacking some important context. "It's nothing. She's just wondering why I didn't tell her that Gunhead's my dad."
Well, why didn't you? Was there any reason to hide it?
That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, for crying! I didn't hide anything. It just never came up. Can we please just go get lunch? The trio left the classroom, went to the cafeteria, and continued talking about their internship plans. The rest of the day went by as usual, and Class A eagerly awaited their internships. Once the special day arrived, they met at a train station and departed for their various hero agencies. Ochiko and Izuku finally arrived at Gunhead's dojo, but the girl lightly tugged his jacket to pull him back. What's wrong? You forget anything?
No.
She nervously said.
It's just that your dad seems super intense. I tried to shake it off earlier, but now I'm really anxious. You got any tips for getting along with him?
Izuku had a look of complete confusion before lightly giggling at her comment.
What's so funny? I really want to make a good impression here.
I'm sorry. It's just, I've never seen anyone actually be intimidated by my dad. He's a total softie, so you have nothing to worry about, he said while finally opening the entrance and revealing Gunhead mercilessly launching a man into the wall as he screamed for his life. Ochiko squeamishly shuffled back, but Izuku stopped her by placing his arm on her shoulder. Okay, I know that may seem a little intimidating.
A little?
Just relax. I already told you that my dad's not harsh. While Izuku was busy calming her down, Gunhead helped pick up the man he had tossed and greeted the two teens.
Right on time, guys. It's great to finally meet you, Uraraka,
he said, offering a handshake.
Nice to meet you too, Mr. Gunhead.
Just Gunhead is fine. There's no need to be so formal.
The pro turned to call the students of the self-defense class he was teaching and excitedly introduced the girl. After this, he informed Izuku that he'd be helping Ochiko become more familiar with the inner workings of hero work and showing her around his patrol route.
While I handle that, you'll conduct the rest of the class. I've already taught them some stuff. So just give them a 30-minute break and leave the sparring sessions, okay?
Okay.
Great. Have fun, you kids. Oh, and make sure to take Uraraka's stuff to the changing room,
he said while walking off with Ochiko and waving goodbye to his class. Gunhead and Ochiko's session lasted about 2 hours as Izuku handled Gunhead's class. Once the pro and girl returned, Gunhead's students took their leave as he prepared to begin training the two teens.
All right, now we can properly begin. Izuku, you'll do your usual endurance drills, and your Evity, you join them a little later. Before I preserve any training, I want to have a proper grasp on your physical abilities.
Izuku left and equipped himself with 8 metal cuffs on his body, 2 on each limb, and a thick vest before heading out for a run to warm up.
What's he wearing?
They're weights. A regular run won't do much of anything for Izuku nowadays, so I gotta weigh him down to really challenge him.
That's odd. They don't look that heavy to me. I mean, I get the vest, but those cuffs don't look heavier than 5 to 10 pounds each.
Actually, that's the point. They're made to be super dense so that they're more convenient to use regularly. Izuku's, at this point, weigh about 70 pounds each.
Each? He took 8 of them? How's he even standing? Won't his legs snap in half or something?
No need to worry. I always make sure to give him exercises he can handle,
he said, trying to reassure her.
Anyways, enough about him. Let's get to your training. Go change and then I'll take you into the gym I showed you earlier.
The girl followed his instructions and her physical examination began. Afterward, Gunhead acquired a pretty good idea of what level she was at and the kind of training that would best suit her. He then gave her a list of exercises to perform and told her to take a break with Izuku, who had just finished his warm-up and entered the gym. This somewhat surprised her because her physical examination took over an hour.
Were you running with those things the whole time?
The boy calmly took a sip of water before responding, Yep. How was your talk with Gunhead?
It was really good, actually. Your dad's way nicer than I expected.
See? Told you there was nothing to worry about. The two continued to chat until their break time finally elapsed, and they continued their training. Once they finished, the rest of the day passed them by and the second internship day arrived. Izuku continued to focus on improving his body since his quirk made practicing martial arts more or less pointless. Uraraka's training, on the other hand, mixed physical training with some combat training. This went on for 2 more days, and then Gunhead had some big news to share with Izuku. I get to go on patrol with you? The boy excitedly said.
Yeah, I think you're finally ready for it. But we won't do it here. Crime's been slow lately. So we'll be going to Hosu City tonight.
Can I come too?
Of course. Getting to see a pro at work for yourself would be a great learning experience.
Both were overjoyed by this, but Izuku was particularly ecstatic. Finally, after all these years, his childhood dream of fighting crime side by side with his father could be realized. The boy shook with excitement while equipping his hero gear, took a deep breath to calm his nerves, confidently walked out of the changing room, and he, Ochako, and his father made their way to the train station. The scene on the way to the station was quite wholesome as multiple citizens showed appreciation for their beloved local hero. As the three rode the train to Hosu City, Izuku felt his excitement bubbling up again, and his arms starting to shake. His father noticed this and asked,
Are you cold, Izuku?
No. I'm fine, perfectly fine.
Are you sure? You seem off.
No, I'm totally fine. The boy took several deep breaths as he thought, It's happening! It's really happening! The boy tried his hardest to contain his emotions, but his excitement was cut off by the train coming to a sudden emergency stop. Several passengers were flung out of their seats as an announcement explaining the situation came over the speakers. While this went on, the body of a pro hero unexpectedly crashed through the train and was followed by a large and unsightly beast. Izuku turned his sight to where his father was sitting, but the man had already vanished. The pro was face to face with the beast and landed 3 quick punches to knock it out of the train.
Is everyone okay? Is anyone injured?
Before the civilians could respond, his son called out to him, Dad! Behind you! The beast, now with its wings exposed, rose and launched an attack at Gunhead's back. The pro easily dodged and countered with a heavy punch to the body.
Gatling, Gear 1!
He shouted as he supported his punch by firing a solid mass of keratin from his arm that blasted the monster into a nearby building. As he did this, his eyes locked onto the destruction of Hosu City, and he deduced that monsters like these were most likely littered all over the place. His mind raced with strategies until he finally turned to his son and Uraraka.
Your Gravity, do you think you can use your power to evacuate these people safely?
I think so, but there's a lot of people here.
Just do as much as you can. Taskmaster, I need you to help carry me to the chaos so I can offer my help. Then you come back here to help her, okay?
What about you? That thing looks like the Nomu that attacked UA, and it was able to go toe-to-toe with All Might.
Now's not the time to evaluate the risk. As a hero, I have to help. Also, while you're coming back to the train, look out for any civilians that need help, okay?
The boy felt nerves all over his body, unsure of his father's fate. If these monsters were identical to the one that attacked the school, he'd be in a lot of trouble. But he calmed himself and followed the pro's instructions. While flying through the air, Gunhead spotted the beast that he had knocked back and asked his son to hurl him at it. Izuku obliged, which allowed Gunhead to connect with a devastating blow as he and the beast crashed into the street. The pro picked himself up, fired 2 sharp keratin masses into the beast's wings, and taunted it to attack him. He and the monster engaged in combat, but it was rather one-sided as Gunhead landed hit after hit. However, they didn't seem to be doing much damage. Because of this, he knocked the beast back again and prepared to launch his finishing move at the beast's head.
Gatling, Gear 6!
But before he could fire, a wall of flame suddenly consumed the beast.
There you are. Thought you could escape me?
Endeavor remarked as he rushed in and incinerated the beast's head. The man didn't even acknowledge Gunhead as he sped off, searching for even more Nomu. Gunhead was understandably surprised but shrugged it off and ran to do the same. Meanwhile, Izuku grew increasingly anxious for his father's safety as he flew through the air. Then, suddenly, his eyes picked up on what looked like 2 or maybe 3 civilians in an alley. Are they hiding from the Nomu? He thought as he slowly descended and prepared to call to them, but stopped once his eyes fully took in the situation. He pulled out his bow and fired 2 exploding arrows at one of the men in the alley. The man blocked the arrows with a sword, but the explosions produced smoke, which disrupted his vision enough for Izuku to land a kick on the man's face and send him rolling across the ground. "Ida!" he said in confusion to his friend lying on the ground. "What's going on? Why are you getting attacked? Are you injured?"
"Midoriya, stay out of this! This doesn't concern you!"
"What do you mean it doesn't concern me? Is this guy that tough?"
"Just go!"
As the classmates argued, the man Izuku had knocked down slowly crept up on the teen and tried to cut him while his back was turned. Unfortunately for him, Taskmaster was still very aware of his surroundings and deflected the attack with his shield before launching a counter with his sword. Stain parried the attack and sent a counter of his own. Taskmaster blocked this, but the man tried to kick him with his spiked boots. The boy dodged this by jumping into the air, and he then used his thrusters to spin in the air and send a kick toward the man, which, despite being blocked, managed to push him back by quite a distance.
He's got good reactions, and he's fast. I guess that makes sense since he managed to immobilize Ito while fighting another pro.
He thought as he took a more defensive stance. If I make a wrong move, then all three of us are probably done for. As Izuku continued to analyze the situation, Ida shouted more objections. Midoriya, just run away! This is my fight, not yours!
Oh, would you shut it?
He harshly responded.
I don't understand why you keep spouting lines like that, but now's not the time. So if you're not gonna tell me how to take him down, then just shut it and let me focus.
Stain lunged forward and the two foes repeatedly clashed blades. Their contest was a tight back and forth until the hero killer prepared a plan to end their battle quickly.
He's not trying to beat me, just trying to hold me back from killing those two. Hence his distance and overly defensive stance. Though logical, this won't work on me.
He parried Izuku's blade, dramatically increased his speed, pushed in close, and pulled out a dagger to stab his stomach. Stain believed the dagger was moving just quick and low enough that Izuku would have to push back towards the fallen pro and his classmate, thus further restricting his movement and making it harder to fight, or he'd try to counter while shifting his body, letting the dagger hit without striking his vitals, but allowing the villain's quirk to take hold, or he'd completely move out of the way, allowing the villain to finish off at least one of his victims. Unfortunately, the boy saw an option that surpassed the man's predictions. The blade was allowed to come in close, but just before it hit its target, Taskmaster began slightly shifting his stance, and suddenly, he tossed his blade into the air and vanished from the man's field of view. Thrusters audibly fired, and two swift kicks connected, one to the base of Stain's chin, and another to the wrist holding the dagger, disarming the villain. Izuku used a martial arts technique that allowed him to instantly drop his body to the floor and launch a kick using momentum. This, coupled with his thrusters, made the kick very effective, causing Stain's brain to, for lack of a better word, bounce around in his head. Under normal circumstances, Stain would have been more resistant to such an attack, but because it was just too sudden for him to brace himself, the man was stunned. Taskmaster took full advantage of this by thrusting forward with his boots and landing a punch to his stomach, backed up by a surge of electricity coursing through the hero killer's body. As Mei Hatsumi had promised, his gauntlets were upgraded by adding a taser feature, and Izuku was using this to its fullest effect by landing several more body shots before finishing the man off by landing a right hook to the face. As a testament to his toughness, Stain willed his body to stay standing and raise his blade once more. However, Izuku saw through his willpower, caught the sword he had tossed, and pushed in with an aggressive attack. The villain had quite a bit of trouble due to Izuku's quick barrage of attacks. Fortunately, his skill and battle experience allowed him to read and keep up with the boy's assault despite feeling as though his body was lagging behind his thoughts. He planned to drag out the battle so that he could recover, but Izuku surprised him yet again, this time by cutting his cheek with an unexpected slash.
What?
The man thought as Taskmaster pushed forward even more aggressively. The boy made more cuts on his body, and the villain finally started piecing together a strategy.
He understands my body isn't functioning at full capacity, and that I'm relying on my ability to read his moves, so he's using that to his advantage by rapidly switching styles.
The man gritted his teeth and tried to launch a counter.
I don't care how many techniques you know, I will defeat you! This country must be cleansed of all false heroes. My mission won't end!
But suddenly, the next phase of Izuku's plan took effect. While trying to swing his sword, the hero killer felt his body shut down.
What's happening? My hands, my legs, my body won't listen to... The cuts. Those shallow cuts! That's why he didn't bother to aim for my vitals! I thought it was because a hero student can't execute me on sight, but it's because he fights like me! Wait, like me?
The man's mind returned to the first few cuts Izuku had landed and realized something.
Hold on. A lot of his moves looked exactly like mine. He easily got through my defense. Not just because my body was hurt, but because he could fight exactly like me? I see. So that's how you did it. I get it now.
He thought as Izuku finished their battle by using the moves he had just learned from Stain to land over a dozen quick slashes on his defenseless body, and then he knocked him out with a full throttle Luna ring. The boy breathed a sigh of relief before tying up the villain and trying to check on his friend and the injured pro. His friend was still filled with rage, but thankfully, he didn't sustain any critical injuries. He carried them out of the alley, and a man suddenly called his classmate's name.
Ida! Is that Tenya Ida?
The man was a pro named Manuel. He ran toward Izuku, and his father followed closely behind him.
Taskmaster, you're already back?
Oh, I never left. I was watching for civilians like you said, and I saw these guys being attacked by a villain, so I helped.
I see. Where's the bad guy?
Tied up in the alley.
All right. Me, Manuel, and the other pros will take it from here. Go make sure your Revity and the civilians at the train are all right.
Yes, sir, he said as he flew off to help his friend. To his delight, Uravity had just about managed to evacuate the people. Awesome work, Ochako, but I thought evacuating all those people would overload your quirk.
Well, Hosu looks like it's in chaos, and knowing you and Gunhead were fighting right in the middle of that gave me that resolve to push through it,
she enthusiastically said while slamming her fist into her palm. Wow, that's incredible. So I guess, since there's nothing left to do here, we should go to help the pros? He took the girl into his arms, and the two flew to Hosu to offer their support. After fighting some monsters and attending to the civilians, the heroes managed to minimize damage and protect as many people as possible. Finally, with the crisis resolved, Gunhead decided they had had enough excitement for the night, and took the kids back to his agency to rest. The following days of their internship were uneventful compared to the first few days. Ojiko and Izuku did some more training, and went on patrol on the last day of their internship, this time in Gunhead's usual area, so as to not endanger the kids. Once the internship concluded, the two would return to UA. Drop a comment below about your favorite series or leave some suggestions. Thanks to our team for another amazing video. If you're interested in joining our team and you're 16 years of age or older, feel free to check out the link in the description. Have a fantastic day.